But we thought this would be the appropriate forum to have it so that we can agree on issues without involving the entire parliament. But as a committee, we should have answers. When you come, our guests, we appropriate, you go back, and the image we see, it doesn't spare the chairperson of the committee. I think he tried all his diplomacy, but he was being pulled into the issue to explain and why he's not calling a special meeting with you. So, Mr. Chairman, on those two aspects, I thought we should have some remarks so that we don't proceed business as usual. But last one, the UPDF, sir, and why we really wanted the CDF to be present, is to bring to his attention the running away conduct and behavior of the UPDF. With me, Mr. Chairman, I beg to table, there is right now an ongoing operation in Remiaga where one Major Brigadier General Ashande is holding a campaign at Remiaga Playground. Tomorrow, there is the school, primary school of 600 pupils and the secondary of 500 students. The Office of the President has advised him to postpone the event to a public holiday where school is not on, or to shift to another venue. But as I speak now, we have a letter from the Office of the President, signed by the Secretary, Office of the President, has been defied. There is a letter of the RDC, Deputy RDC Sembabule, also guiding on the same, has been defied. The Army has deployed from Kachiri at the venue and at Kasunga for this operation. As I speak now, trucks of soldiers were loaded. And
what operation is that?
To launch the so-called liberation of Remiaga. This is how they've called it. Launch invitation, Brigadier General, retired Rwashande.
So he's retired?
Yes, but I hope hope it is.
He's still, yes.
Ah, okay. That one I agree. For Remiaga Liberation Party. But in spite of the guidances, I hope I'll be able to share what the Deputy Chair is communicating. In spite of the guidances from the responsible officers, UPDF has been deployed at Remiaga Primary School and at Kasunga, at the venue to enforce what he has been told to desist from. Now that you have the Deputy CDF, there is a blatant takeover from these events, Mr. Chairman. I beg to report that incident before the responsible officers. Forceful takeover. You see, don't interrupt the school calendar. You make a weekend, a Saturday, one day, or go. Instead of responding to that, he has deployed the Army. So, what is happening to this country, Mr. Chairman? And the responsible officers have communicated the same, and I beg to table the same, Mr. Chairman. I beg to table the same for you and for the officers.
Okay.
I beg to table, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Sechikubo, he has raised his legitimate concerns. Would you please look at these letters and please respond accordingly? Then
I think I have a very difficult job to do, responding to this. But since I have the army leadership here, they will help me do this even much better. Answering about the retired General Emmanuel Rashande and whether he's still within their control and command and control, and whether they have deployed. So those are questions that and if so, whether the leadership, you are aware of that. The Deputy CDF, that's why you are paid to defend the army and the country. Do your part, sir.
Honorable Chair, first of all, I want to thank Honorable Sinkubo for raising these issues. This is not the first time he has done it. I remember last time when we were here, 3 names came up. Brigadier General Rashande, Major General Katirima, and I think Brigadier General Mujenya. Honorable Chair, we sat and sorted that out. Yes, with him together, with the Honorable Sekubo. That's one. Two,
You were not aware?
this development, Honorable Chair, we did.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, sir. Now, this new development, Honorable Chair, first of all, we are not aware of this deployment. And actually, I am not aware, nobody is aware, because even the intelligence is not aware.
Of any deployment?
No. Now, what I'm aware of, the generals retire with escorts. Depending on the rank determines the number. But still the discretion of the general. If he says, I don't want any escort, we withdraw. But if he doesn't, then the escorts are given to him.
But General Rashand in particular has escort?
Yes.
Okay.
Now.
But that cannot be the story deployed from...
But I'm still submitting.
Yes.
He has escorts. Now, you have mentioned about 3 places where soldiers have been deployed. Honorable Chair, I want to promise this committee, this House, that we are going to establish this, and we shall get a solution to it. With all these documents, I don't think General Rashande is above the law to defy this. I don't want to believe that. But I want to promise we shall handle it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm glad that...
First we should congratulate, because I know Honorable Sechko raised this matter when we were doing the budget framework paper. I'm happy that you took it upon yourself to do what my colleague called out-of-committee settlement. Excellent, because these are legitimate matters. Both General Washande and Sechkubo are Ugandans. They are all entitled to freedom. So, and please, your commitments will take you that. Go ahead and make sure his concerns are addressed.
Yeah, I want to congratulate these matters. Well, I also witnessed, I caused the two to shake hands, including in a public function in Zimbabwe. And I had very kind words for Honorable Sechku. But even if it was the Minister of Defense going that side, that deployment in 3 places, 2 places from Kakiri. Did you say Kachiri? That sounds like presidential. You cannot be of a retired Brigadier General. But since the army is going to handle, yeah, if it is verified it is true, then the army will handle. Now there's another thing about the CDF attending the committee. Today you heard from the introduction, the deputy CDF is representing the CDF. The commitment we made to this committee that we shall relay the interest for these committee members to interact with the CDF, that commitment still stands. And I'm not here to withdraw that and to confirm that we still have so many next meetings. And we believe that it will be handled. And Deputy CDF, again, you've heard. Now this is second time. We believe that the CDF has no specific, this is just an engagement outside today's schedule. Otherwise, he has delegated the Deputy CDF.
Yes, you are right, Honorable Minister. But at least for once, when we go on record, day in, day out, we feel we are extending it a bit too far beyond the legitimate concern. But we are interacting, and it should be. You can't have time, we see crossing even borders, addresses, meetings there, but you can't have time for your committee. 1 hour, one interaction. Is that being great?
Honorable Chair.
Are we demanding for too much?
No, Honorable Sechikubo.
Is that this committee, just like any other group of Ugandans, they love the CDF, and that keeps him very, very busy within Uganda and outside. This love should be handled well. Deputy CDF, make sure the CDF creates time for this committee. And secondly, about the Kawempe, is it Kawempe North or
North
by-election? I don't know what specific thing the Honorable Sechikubo wanted us to
witnessed our own in uniform beating journalists, beating people. And the commander-in-chief came out to say that that was not instructed by any authority. And we are seeing, are there rogue elements putting on the uniform within the UPDF that we are pretending over?
I want to ask the CDF, because me, I don't put on uniform. I stopped in A-level. So you speak for those who put on uniform like you.
Honorable Chair, allow me to take this opportunity to officially apologize to this committee. We are very sorry. We saw what happened. It was purely operational mistakes.
Operational mistakes. Good.
That is not our doctrine. But out of 1,000 people, there are those who cannot control emotional quotients. When you provoke, somebody overreacts. That occurred out of provocation, but it didn't warrant that degree of reaction. We saw it, and we took action. People were arrested. A committee was constituted to investigate. As we speak, they are in jails, and the investigations are going on. And we shall punish them. There is no escape, no shortcut. But once again, we apologize.
I think we congratulate you on that.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you, as a committee, we congratulate you on that. That reinforces the understanding that this 11th Parliament and the Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs has, that the mighty UPDF is professional to the hilt and carries that and a jewel both at home and outside. Please keep it up. Make sure it comes to a conclusive end so that it's not repeated. Thank you. Can we move?
Chair, I wanted just being honest. That is what the country has been waiting for. And it is our prayer that it eventually comes to a logical conclusion. Let us keep the name of UPDF like it has been. Thank you very much. And we pray that justice be done.
Wonderful. Honorable colleague joined us first.
Responsibility. Now that the Deputy CDF has, in his wisdom, and being a patriotic Ugandan, stated that those were operational mistakes, I think when they sit in their cabinet, they should actually advise fellow ministers not to mislead Ugandans and say what happened in Kawembe was not actually torture, but someone just saw an antenna. A minister says an antenna. It wasn't a stick, but they were carrying antenna. Those were antennas. So I think to help this country, we should also behave the way the Deputy CDF has behaved. People who hold the responsible offices should speak responsibly.
Thank you. That has been put to rest. Honorable
Chair and honorable members, we want to thank you for the opportunity to invite the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs with allied institutions, NEC and Uganda Air Cargo, to make appearance today and respond to issues that were raised by this great committee that we call home and our own Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs. And to do this job today, present the ministerial policy statement for 2025-2026. I've come with a team of experts, of office holders, responsible people, including seeing Deputy CDF in uniform apologizing. This is a unique a general, 3-star general apologizing. That means a great deal and gives hope to this country. That where we are
that's
going,
why we congratulated
Thank you.
him and the UPDF.
So now to help me do this with the money matters is the accounting officer herself, who is representing the PS. And I want to invite her to, I tried to put on the specs, but I can't see the figures very well. She will do this very well. So, Madame Buturo, please.
$927,759,011, and the breakdown is shown in the table below. So as we shall be putting to you, this is a reduction in the previous year's figure. We shall talk about this later. Table 1 below gives us priorities by program, sub-program, sub-sub-program, output and budget for the financial year 25-26. Chair, like already mentioned, we fall under the program 16 of governance and security, which has 32 members in total, and we are one of them. The sub-program is security, sub-sub-program national defense, UPDF. We shall start with the Department of Air Force. The outputs under that department, chair and members, is Air Defense Capability Services, which cover technical capability enhanced, and these are fuel maintenance of aircrafts, among others. It is capacity of your UPDF personnel enhanced, and the non-wage allocation to this activity or output of Air Force is 54,282,556,634 Uganda shillings. We have healthcare services of UPDF enhanced, personnel enhanced under the same sub-program, sub-sub-program. Number 2 department is Land Force, And the outputs under the land force, we have got one wage. Chair, this wage covers the whole UPDF, all the services of UPDF. And it is 1,265,010,238, sorry, 010,238,055. The other item is non-wage with 1,031,327,956,325 Uganda shillings. And under that non-wage item, we got outputs under land force, which cover capability services. These include technical capability enhanced, fuel, food, clothing, maintenance of equipment, among others. We have the capacity of UPDF personnel enhanced, and these include recruitment and training. We've got healthcare services of UPDF and personnel enhanced. Formal education to the children of UPDF personnel enhanced. Economic empowerment for UPDF families enhanced. These are the outputs under that sub-program, land force. The third chair and members is policy planning and support services. Department is finance and administration. This is basically headquarters that supports the core mandate of UPDF. The welfare items there include wage, and wage has an allocation of 1,844,011,473. Non-wage, 291,652,708,833 Uganda shillings, and this covers management and administrative services coordinated, including arrears. And under this chair, we have pensions, gratuity, and backlog cases. We've got financial management systems, planning, budgeting, and M&E reports developed. We've got laws and policies that are developed and reviewed, rehabilitation and integration services, and DVA, Veteran Affairs. Productive activities of the UPDF enhanced. We shall also explain this, Chair. We have another output of capital development. This cuts across but is housed here under capital, the capital budget. Capital development covers retooling of the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, classified equipment, defense infrastructure improved. And the budget allocated to this chair and members is 1,773,085,756,230. Chair, another output under the vote 531,461, slightly lower than what we saw in the previous financial year, Chair. Chair and the members 011. As to the vote, Chair, we are reporting that there's a slight change in P, because in between then and now, we got an increase of 21 billion shillings towards pension and gratuity, which has raised the figure by that amount. And we want to commend the Ministry of Finance and Government for that increment, including this very good committee chair. So issue number 2 is requiring us to clarify whether there's been an increase in the budget ceilings for the vote, and if adjustments align with priorities outlined in the Ministerial Policy Statement for financial year 25-26. Our response, Chair, is that the budget has increased by 21.08 billion shillings, as I'd already mentioned, towards pension and gratuity. However, the budget also came down by Uganda shillings 100 billion under the classified budget. This is less than what we had in the previous financial year. Uganda shillings 5.41 billion for arrears is also registered as a decrease, and 1.5 billion shillings for awesome, and resulting in a net reduction of Uganda shillings 85.85 billion. Chair. The table below is a breakdown of this figure by item. Under wage, Honorable Chair and members, we have a comparison there in the first two columns, showing the wage of financial year 24-25 being 1,266,854,249.52 trillion, the same as the current financial year. So there's a zero variance on wage. We have on policy planning and support services, financial year 24-25 was allocated 270 billion 568 million 680,567, while the approved budget for 25-26 is 291 billion 652 708,833, with a positive variance of 21 billion shillings 84 million 28266, and this is towards pension and gratuity, as already mentioned. So, land force also presents a zero variance. There's no difference between what we got last year and 25-26. Same as Air Force. Capital, there's a variance of 100 billion shillings on the classified item. This includes other capital capital allocations, but the reduction was on the classified budget, 100 billion shillings, reducing the allocation 25-26 to 1,773 billion 085 756230. Arrears, Chair, there's no allocation as yet from the Ministry of Finance. We are saying as yet because sometimes, when we are fortunate, by the time the budget is read, we have this figure. So for now, we do not have any allocation, and the variance is negative 5 billion 407 million 523 195. Awesome has got an allocation of 253 billion 250 million, and on 24-25 approved budget 25-26 is 251 billion 724 531 461, presenting a negative of 1 billion 525 million 468 539 now 539. The remark there we have is this is due to the drawdown that is ongoing. The totals there, Chair, represented under 24-25 is 4 trillion 754 billion 776 722 479. 25-26 financial year is 4 trillion 668 927 759 011 Uganda shillings, presenting net reduction of 85 billion 848 million 963 468 Uganda shillings. Chair is saying that whereas the ministry has been allocated this 4.6 trillion for financial year 25-26, there are still a number of unfunded and underfunded items as shown in the table below. And we request, Chair, that focus be given to this item by this August committee, because that is where our real issues are. So table 2, Chair, is showing a breakdown of in thematic areas and also by item. One is welfare. Welfare has got a shortfall of shillings 358.7 billion. I'll not repeat the figures which I already read as allocated, but it shows that we required 1.625, and this presents a reduction of 358.7 billion. In our remarks column, we are breaking this figure to 1, salary for 10,000 recruits currently undergoing training, and this requires 97.5 billion shillings. Enhancement of professional pay, 31.3 billion shillings. There's a promotion effect, Uganda shillings 14.96 billion. Salary enhancement for lower cadre, this is a work in progress still, Chair, because we are tending towards the target, which we are not really there yet. Our total requirement will have been 800 billion and 856 billion. So this is 25% of that requirement presented in year one of those quarters. So we require 214.6 billion shillings for this item. We also require implementation of the UPDF establishment. This is, we are implementing this establishment currently since 2021. Uganda shillings 329 million has a shortfall. So the total is 358.7 on the item of wage. On pension and gratuity, Chair, we are showing a reduction from what we presented at the BFP under Circular 1. Due to the increment we have been given of 21 billion shillings, we now have requirement of 23.8 billion as shortfall. The total requirement is 255.6. Sir, this is enhancement of pension for veterans and also retirement of batch 15, financial year 25-26. The next item is pension backlog. We have a requirement of 30.8 billion shillings. Nothing has been allocated, and we have a shortfall of 30.8 billion to clear pension and gratuity backlog arrears in 25-26. The other theme is medical. Under medical, we have treatment expenses. A requirement of 69.9 billion with a shortfall of 25.4 billion. And this arises from increased strength. We already reported we are recruiting more numbers, and also a shortfall on medical supplies. Medical equipment, Chair, we have a requirement of 55.7 billion shillings. Only 0.6 billion was allocated, and there's a shortfall of 55.1 billion. Chair, you visited us and the Honorable Committee, and this presentation was made then. We did not want to come out very openly that day, and we requested that you, and thank you for understanding us, but we thought you should bring it here, that you have got a shortfall on equipment for that hospital, which is a contractual obligation. Equipment has been supplied and continues to be supplied under various contracts, but no payment of this equivalent is going to be made unless this budget is provided. We also have a requirement for health facilities in various services, divisions and formations, and this is going to become more prominent, Chair, as the referral hospital takes shape. The third one under medical is the capitalization of the referral hospital. We require 39.8 billion shillings, which with no allocation as yet, for operationalizing the hospital. This will include drugs and sundries, utilities, maintenance costs, salaries, and administrative costs. And so as you heard, we are launching 1st of May, the hospital starts running. Defense Forces Shop is another item, Chair, and it requires 20 billion shillings. Only 8 billion has been allocated, leaving a shortfall of 12 billion. This capitalization of Defense Forces Shop is to improve the welfare of troops and providing more essential items and increase outlets. The subtotal on this item, Chair, is 2,097,000,000.4, allocation of 1,551,000,000.8, with a shortfall of 545.6 billion shillings. The next area, thematic area, Chair, is logistical support. This has a number of items. Fuel, and this covers all the services and headquarters, has got a shortfall of 76.2 billion shillings. Maybe in the interest of time, Chair, I'll just be reading the shortfall. Yes, the increased acquisition of equipment over the years is a result of the the shortfall is informed by increased acquisition of equipment over the years, increased training on specialized equipment, warming of specialized equipment, increased operations, and therefore the need for increase on this item of fuel. The other item is clothing. Clothing has got a shortfall of 106.1 billion shillings. This is due to increase in strength, transition to the new uniform as per establishment 2021. We have a new design of uniform.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I request you allow the PS to speak louder. We are not getting, and there are two...
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm sure Honorable Anya, being a member of parliament, representing...
Okay.
Thank you. But thank you for that. But you're also welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'd finished clothing. We're going to the maintenance of equipment. Item is 71.2 billion shillings. Rise covers maintenance of aircrafts. Adequate maintenance lengthens the asset lifespan, Chair, and lowers risk of breakdown and increases efficiency. Travel abroad is another item with a big shortfall of 4.2 billion shillings to cater for mandatory travels, regional obligations, and these cover regional obligations, pre-shipment inspections, training, medical, and diplomacy. So, sir, our travels abroad, that's strategic with this big shortfall, which is going to affect all these areas we have mentioned under our remarks. The subtotal in this item of logistics is 541.8 billion shillings. Required, yes, is 541, and the shortfall, net shortfall is 285.2 billion shillings. Number 3 is maintenance of classified assets, Chair and members, and this has got a shortfall of 101.1 billion Uganda shillings, required to ensure managing, securing, and preserving of high-value assets to ensure longevity, operational efficiency, and security. The next item is capital development. Capital development, Chair, covers a number of areas, one being infrastructure development. On this, Chair, we have a shortfall of 124 billion shillings. This item covers construction of 700 housing units in selected sites across the country. We require 50 billion shillings for this. It also includes complete construction of the joint headquarters at Imbuya. So we start this project, this financial year ending, with very meager funds. We required 94 billion shillings. We only had 20. And we now require 74 billion. Construction and equipment of maintenance workshops. This has nil allocation and a shortfall of 28.9 billion. Chair, this will enable us to construct and equip in-house garages intended to reduce the high cost of repairs in private garages and to enhance internal capacity of our forces. Land acquisition is another capital item. It has a shortfall of 70.8 billion shillings. The ministry has a debt stock for land compensation amounting to Uganda shillings 218.8 billion, against which only 17.7 billion was allocated has been allocated in financial year 25-26, and this will partly settle the obligations. It leaves a shortfall of 201.1 billion shillings. This could be paid, we are proposing, Chair and honourable members, in view of the constraints. We are proposing that this could be paid in phases, starting with 8.5 billion shillings in financial year 25-26. The continued non-settlement of land compensations attracts litigation that will come up or may come up with higher costs. We have also under this item, Chair, the solar power project with a requirement of 43.1 billion. Only 10 billion shillings has been allocated, leaving a shortfall of 33.1 billion shillings. The ministry is in the process of constructing a solar project at Nakasongola, aimed at reducing expenditure on electricity, currently at Uganda shillings 31 billion annually. Item E is UPDF owned water supply sources, and this is 11.5 billion. Chair, we are in the process of developing these sources using our GS brigade, as we shall be informing the committee later. And 11.5 billion is in the initial phase, the short-term implementation phase. The subtotal for this capital requirement, Chair, is 347 billion required, 0.6, and a shortfall of 268.3 billion Uganda shillings. Next item with a shortfall is operations. This is a thematic area, Chair, of special operations. We've got Operation Shuja with a requirement of 140.3 billion shillings, with just 26.3 billion as an allocation. The shortfall is 114 billion shillings. The UPDF continues to undertake operations in the DRC against ADF, and this additional funding requirement will cater for top-up feeding, medical, administration, fuel, and maintenance of equipment. The next special operation, Chair, is Usalama kwa Wote. This is Karamoja, with requirement of 46.8 billion shillings. The shortfall we have there is 23.1 billion shillings. And the UPDF continues to undertake, Chair, operations in Karamoja sub-region. And the requirement here in the shortfall is to cover top-up feeding, fuel, maintenance of equipment, CIMIC activities, and operation funds. Operation C is a new one in South Sudan. Mdenzi kwa Kimia, 39.1 billion shillings is required with no allocation yet. And this requirement is to cater for operational and logistical requirements for South Sudan, the South Sudan operation. D is election security, Chair. The PS explained last time the significance of this for this committee and the whole House. And we are reporting, Chair, that we have nothing at all yet allocated to election security. This requirement is to cover logistical and operational requirements. So the UPDF, in support of other agencies who are responsible for election security, pre, during, and after the 2026 general elections. This will be in support of Uganda Police Force. The subtotal shortfall here on this item, Chair, is 314 billion, 0.6 Uganda shillings. Number 6 theme is our production arms. This is one Uganda Cargo Corporation. Chair, we've been talking about this every year since Cabinet gave this directive. This is only phase 1 in the strategic plan of Uganda Air Cargo, 381 billion, 0.1 Uganda shillings. And this is to cover phase 1 of implementation of the strategic plan of Uganda Air Cargo. Number B is National Enterprise Corporation with a shortfall of 6.1 billion shillings to address research and development under Luero Industries and the shortfall on the headquarters of NEC. Number C under this is equipment for food and feed program. The food and feeds program, Chair, is a national program where we're tasked to contribute towards food security. We have no allocation, unfortunately, although we have been performing in this area. And the main allocation, Chair, is on equipment. You may recall, Chair, that this was a matter that Ministry of Agriculture and was supposed to cater for. We were told, go and start, the equipment is coming. It is now so many years down the road and there's no equipment. So it has had a toll on the budget of the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, but has also helped us, this program, to cater for feeding requirements for the forces. We shall also be talking about that achievement later. So the total here shortfall is 541.4 billion shillings. Honorable Chair and members. Under the theme Policy and Administration, Chair, we have got a number of items that with shortfalls. One is the management of veteran affairs, and like you said, sir, this is a very critical item for the welfare of our forces as they transit into back to civilian life. We have a shortfall of 19.2 billion shillings, and this is required to support veteran welfare programs across the country. We also have another item, Chair, we presented on compensation of ex-combatants of West Nile sub-region. We require 21 billion shillings for this, and no allocation has been made. So I recall that we previously had 26 billion shillings as a requirement, but only 5 billion was allocated last financial year and paid, leaving 21 billion shillings as an outstanding requirement. This is a very serious program, Chair, and as we talk now, preparations are going on for the President to launch this program of rehabilitation of the 21 billion yet to be paid ex-combatants, basing on a commitment that was made at the launch by the Minister last year. We were very sure that we were going to have this money, and that commitment was taken very seriously by the people in West Nile. And we are preparing what they are calling a peace event, which is being launched on the 11th and 12th of April, a few days from now. So this budget, sir, has got a lot of expectation behind it with the undertakings by government. The other item under Policy and Administration is upgrade of our IRMI system, Integrated Resource Management Information System, which will also include logistics as a new item. Now, on this, Chair, we have no allocation, and the shortfall is 40 billion shillings. This is required to upgrade the IRMIS, the current system, and to also host the logistics and pension management functions. Chair, we are officially the pension authority following the change in policy that transferred this responsibility from Ministry of Public Service to Ministry of Defense. And this is a critical item, Chair, because this pension function was being hosted by the IPPS System Administrator of Public Service, which is soon closing down, and after transiting to the HCM. HCM is, okay. The new system that took over from the IPPS, and Ministry of Defense is not a member of that system, because the understanding was you are transiting to the pension management system, and therefore all the functions, pension and gratuity, will be hosted at the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs. So failure for us to transit to the pension management system and being cut off from the IPPS means we shall have no pension paid to the forces until that system is facilitated, the pension management system. It is a straight-through process from recruitment to exit, which is an improvement on the current IPPS, which was receiving pension at the tail end at retirement only. So this is right from the salary to the pension exit. Chair, we require 40 billion shillings for this as a very critical requirement. Otherwise, we shall have no pension paid once the IPPS goes off air. The other item is third-party compensations and court awards. Chair, we require 70.4 billion shillings. Only 2.8 billion has been allocated, leaving a shortfall of 67.6 billion shillings. This is intended to settle third-party compensation whose non-continued settlement attracts interest and litigation. And we are going to end up paying much more than we're seeing here. Electricity has got big arrears of 138.1 billion not paid. And the reason we have a big shortfall of 143.8 billion shillings. The other requirement in this shortfall is the annual consumption of 5.7 billion shillings on what has been allocated. Water, 43.7 billion shillings, has got an allocation of 12.8 billion only, leaving a shortfall of 30.9 billion. The shortfall is intended to cater for domestic arrears of 16.8 billion shillings and the annual consumption of 14.1 billion, which has got that shortfall. Chair, we recently had the providers of these two critical utilities crying out to government for intervention. We are one of those people with very big shortfalls, and we pray that these arrears are paid, allocated to the ministry. The subtotal on this theme, Chair, is 322.5 billion shillings as the shortfall. So the grand total, covering all the thematic areas and the items up there, shows a net shortfall of 2,307.8 billion, 0.7, Chair, which is almost 50% of the allocation this year. And our prayer through my minister is that this is provided in the financial year 25-26.
Chair.
Issue number 3.
Chair. Mr. Chairman, then the unfunded priorities, Mr. Chairman. I think before we exhaust our energies on these, which are basically policy matters, if you would permit us to first interrogate this area, then we can move to the subventions, we can move to other items. I believe that once we really scrutinize this aspect, because it is touching, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, after this, then we can move to the other section, because this is where our beef really is as a committee.
Well, thank you, Honorable Sechiko. I thought she's actually,
Issues that
they
she
are
has
all
touched.
our matters. This is the Honorable Committee where she has to upload all her concerns, all her Honorable Sechiko. Edith, the rest, the questions that we put and the responses are there. So, stick to unfunded priorities and
So last year, and the budget allocations.
allocations and
The
unfunded priorities.
Should I continue? Chair?
Yep, please proceed, because the
Be your issues paper. So we thought you could finish with this, and then with your permission, perhaps we go to, and finish with issue 4? Issue 5,
issue 5,
3 to 5,
yes.
to clarify whether subventions received independent budgets. This is subventions as shown in the table below. And this is 9.354766001 for NEC. Uganda cargo is 8.466 by this amount.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome the
Maybe
news.
first get the figure and then.
Good news is coming through the accounting officer. And we pray that more good news will be coming. Don't you think that is procedural right to allow the accounting officer to compile all the good news, to harmonize? Because by the time we shall finish, we shall have received so many good news and we shall get lost in the process. Don't you think that
You're right, Honorable Lanya. I'm sure the technical team is handling that. Only that now item, and that's much better. So we can now have a total per, yes. Yeah, then the grand total. And Honorable Keo's question, whether it certainly affects the allocation total upwards. So it will be 4.6, either 7, not 6.6. But we need, Oh, great. Okay, so I think, do you want us to allow you some time to,
Chair.
Who are handling
adding
that?
up, but
Okay,
I took interest
okay.
in the comment by Honorable Anya. So how long should you wait, Chair?
good, yes.
Seems the committee has some interest
In
in
fact,
that, in
this committee
the prophetic
has,
statement.
this
that-
committee
that
has
war is
always
coming.
been very generous to you.
Yes, Honorable, very well.
Yes, very, and they
we
continue
appreciate.
to be.
Yes.
They are all committed to making sure you are stronger, but you never get excited.
I'm too excited, and that other comment has made me even more excited.
Thank you. Okay.
So we're waiting for more.
Mr. Chairman, because we're reading through increased responsibilities, but with a further reduction from the last financial year, a further reduction of 85.5, yet there are increased responsibilities. We're wondering how is she going to juggle between that? But now, having come in the good news,
We spare her.
Mr. Chairman, should I rest my spears now?
Please,
for time
keep
being?
them. Keep spears far away from you.
Okay, we
Okay, thank you. And I thought she would, there's something, it's very important. If we invest in something, how much are you going to save? You may not generate NTR, but save.
With your permission.
Honorable Chair, I
Let's,
just wanted the veterans. Actually, the business model, for example, you would say if the Minister of Defense gave the agriculture arm about 15 billion, they would produce food equivalent to this amount, and it would save defense, the money it is investing in food, to this
Spending.
amount. That is what we want. That agriculture, we inject 20 billion in Nakasongola to produce grain, which eventually you sell here. That would convince Minister of Finance to give more money.
It would also
Think
be
about
good
it.
budgeting. Thank you. Honorable Sechi?
On page have 1,266,854,249,528. in the last financial year, Mr. Chairman. And now the approved budget is the same amount, 1,266,000,000, the same amount. And yet, once you go on page 9, you are seeing that we have recruited 10,000 recruits. Mr. Chairman, wage salary is a right, and this is not provided for. How do you intend to go about this? Why did we recruit in the first place if we didn't provide the budget allocation? I don't know whether this one also is covered under the good news, but you see, we can't now deliberate the way we had intended to, because we do not know exactly where the good news will land us. But by this, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, it is something we can't gloss over.
It's a statutory obligation.
It is.
You have no
And
way.
once you have the approved budget, how do you intend to go about this, Madam Accounting Officer and Honorable Minister?
And now that you're on page 9, I had noted enhancement of professional pay. This has been scientists, i.e. engineers, doctors, even if they are at the rank of Lieutenant General.
Yes.
Because the policy that this parliament passed, government, is that scientists' pay should be enhanced. This will also attract, it also attracts more caliber to the ranks.
Yes,
I heard you didn't carry any lower rank. They were saluting us. We were very happy. They said, you people have pleaded for us.
yes. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, but eventually,
it was dropped.
it was dropped.
Mr. Chairman, if you look at that item, 214.6 billion.
Billion.
You are not even promising us.
So they would think we were, we promised to be a answer.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
You've made and the members is very factual. There is no easy way of going about this, and we are very grateful for the support that this committee has accorded us as a ministry. And we still hope the new circular that has been given out, they are stopping us from doing what I'm about to do, that we ask you to continue helping us. That is in breach, but this committee has all the mandate within you started, we gave hope, this committee gave hope to the lower cadres of the UPDF, and in fact to all the forces and services, prisons, and there's that increment. They have probably committed themselves hoping that, you know, the incremental,
Yes.
the increments are going to carry on until it is 100%.
They took obligations, including
The
loans. Yes.
214.6 is only 25%, and it would make it 60 what? 63%. We have not reached 100%. So this first item, the reason it is first item here, welfare, it means everything to those very lower cadres
It does.
of the UPDF. So it's really a priority among the priorities. Actually, items from, we have people recruited already in anticipation that when they come out, when are they coming out? In a few months, they will get salary. We don't have their salary.
That
So
is Honorable Sechiko's concern.
Yes,
So
we don't
what-
have their clothing. We don't have their food. It makes it very bad for us to come before Parliament and we say this. But where else can we say it?
It's only here.
So we would be glad for any possible interventions And, but we say this so that you can appreciate our concerns. It's not that we don't plan. We've recruited, it's all planned, shared with the relevant ministry. Enhancement of professional pay, it is now automatic, whether you're a science teacher in Namayingo or in Remiyaga SS. Yes, either in Yorua, it is all, and that applies to all who serve in public service, civil service. So the soldiers should not be paid any less. But
Honorable Minister, the only best news that I want to hear is not whether you have acquired Sukhoi 57, which is necessary, by the way. It's a strategic facility asset. But it is whether his pay has been enhanced. For them, what they have in this budget, 2025, 2026, is whether, one, what we promised has been catered for, Honorable Minister and the Permanent Secretary, whether what we Parliament promised has been catered for. Once you do that, the rest are like icing on the cake. There has to be a cake first. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, this committee can also interface with the Minister of Finance because there was a commitment that this could be done in 3 financial years. And on the basis of that, that's why we are hopeful that we don't know whether we've not said it well, but you can also interact with the finance and ask them about this commitment.
Chair, Honorable Minister, I wanted to, earlier, the accounting officer put our operations in South Sudan, and she says that the required logistic needed or resources needed is about 39.1 billion shillings, and the money is not available. And our soldiers and the UPDF is in South Sudan already. So how are they managing without resources then?
It's very true. We hope that part of the good news is going to be helpful in, honorable members, to come to Ministry of Defense, UPDF, is completely very unique because you never get to know when war is going to break out. We are in this room here. We don't know what the message room is channeling. So planning strictly, it becomes a problem. So we never envisage that there will be a time we shall go to help in our neighborhood. So we need your understanding. But I believe also now people in finance, they have understood. And we want to thank them. Most times the PSST and the ministers, they do. This situation of UPDF is very, very fluid. We need constant support, not a drip, but constant support.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Honorable Lanya.
what the deputy asked, now the deployment is done. The UPDF are already in South Sudan. And from here you are saying we don't have money, about 39 billion, to cater for those people. What the committee want to find out is, where are you getting the extra resources? Since they are now in South Sudan, and the operation is already on. Where are you getting the resources from to maintain our soldiers who are in South Sudan, the operation in South Sudan?
First of all, Honorable Chair, allow me to thank Honorable Olanya. He's the immediate neighbor to the Republic of South Sudan.
And he supported fervently.
And he's the one who spoke for everyone in the House, because he knows what it means to be to a neighboring country which is not stable. I want to thank you for that. UPDF is very creative. They could have carried their small food ratios, but we thank the Minister of Finance that right now 60 billion has been sent, and 39.1 will be covered. We will be able to cover the operation in South.
That is now good news.
Yeah, that's
The
good news.
concern of honorable
Chair.
colleagues is that while the UPDF is at home, they are very well catered for. We need them to even shine while they are away, so that they can keep us safe home and away.
That advice and observation is well noted.
Thank you.
Chair,
Honorable.
in Rwanda, in Congo, indeed, UPDF had no budget at that time when they deploying. And they came to this committee during a supplementary, we gave them money. But then this goes back, takes me back to the issue which we're handling, the issue of the boys who have been recruited, are being trained, and there is no money. And the minister here has said UPDF is very creative. In business, Chair, even if you had a very nice computer, you had a very good desk, but human resources is the most important. Even when you say you have bought Sukhois, you have trained these officers, but if you do not pay these officers, I can assure you that even what you have sent them to do in the South Sudan, they may not give you the results that you require. So as the UPDF, which is very creative, we want also to beseech and want to commit that as a committee, we are going to do our part. However, if you also feel you are creative and you can look through somewhere to ensure that these boys are paid, then do so that we can have a UPDF which is not demoralized in any campaign. But Chair, we want also to request that the Minister of Finance, I think we should engage with them seriously on matters which are serious. If we are talking about a statutory obligation, why then should you not give money to pay these officers or any staffs in this country? Because you will not get results if you do not pay. We are here because we are sure that at the end of the month, we shall sign something and take home. But imagine these are officers who are not even paid very well, but you cannot even pay the little that they're supposed to get. So I think, Chair, like they have said, as a committee, we should be very serious on this, that the Minister of Finance finds money to pay these officers. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sevi.
And it is still an emergency. But when you look at page 10, and you are saying medical equipment for the UPDF National Referral Hospital, it does not concur with your submission, because this hospital was begun a long time ago, and you knew that you would need equipment. I have ever been a deputy chair for health. When Minister of Health is planning to construct a Center 3, it goes in tandem for the staff, for the equipment, and for the supplies. Now, this construction might have taken like 3 years or 2 years if it has been faster. Now you are here, you are saying you do not have this money. How did you plan? Because it has been a long time. For Sudan, we can agree. I've been looking at all these items, the unfunded and the underfunded. Is it intentional for you to because very important issues not funded, very important items not, put, the money is not there. How do we, prioritize our issues? That is my major concern. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable.
Yes,
I'll let him.
Few concerns, and these are purely related to budget. One, there is a second budget core circular, which was raised or written on 13th February 2025. And Mr. Chairman, there are some funds that were added on to Minister of Defense budget. To be in particular, there are funds that were reinstated. That was to the financial year 2024-2025. And this budget was for food for UPDF, the 172 billion, and the defense equipment project, the 130 billion. Accounting officer, I have gone through your ministerial policy statement. I have not seen this money reflected anywhere. We need to know where this money is reflected. Secondly, and it's related to the same, there is a project code 181847, and this is construction of 20 something Nakasongora solar power project. And this power project was given 28 billion.6. Now, referring to your submission, you required the Nakasongora project you required, was it 43? 43 billion. And in your budget, you have allocated 10 billion. Now, additionally, Minister of Finance has again allocated you 28.6 billion. This does not relate to your submission. And again, I have also scanned through the ministerial policy statement. Where is this project coded? I've not seen it anywhere in your budget as a project. Yet it even has the project code. But in the ministerial policy statement, it's nowhere. Mr. Chairman, when you go to page 70, no, not page 73, on the summary of their budget, when you go to the summary of the defense budget, that is page 41, there is this item 229, inventories, where it has been allocated 8 billion. And when you scan through the people manning the department, it is also attached to the ministerial policy statement. I have seen about 2 people, the inventory management officers, managing the department, or if at all there are others on contract. What is it that is being done by the department that requires that budget just to manage the inventory? Under Secretary, we need you to unpack this. And in a related manner, you also need to unpack the 50 billion meant for consultancy. Otherwise, you are at risk of this money being taken away if it is not done. Mr. Chairman, when you go to page 41 of the ministerial policy statement, item 242, interest on domestic debts. Mr. Chairman, this is a very, very, very risky area if it is not addressed. The accounting officer indicates that the ministry had a debt this financial year, this running financial year, and 108 billion was allocated and is being spent. So for the next financial year, 2025-2026, 2.353 billion is again allocated to address this issue. Honorable Minister, we need to know who are the creditors? Who are these people that you owe money to? And under which law was this loan acquired? Was it a loan? What was it for? This domestic debt, we need to know.
Your question is, because domestic areas don't have
This is
accrue
domestic
loan.
debt.
Thank you.
Yes,
So
this
what-
is a
to
domestic
define the
debt.
date.
Not areas. So if it is a domestic debt, that means you borrowed the money somewhere.
Or you owe somebody
Yes, so we
where you have been no way it attracts interest.
yeah, and you can imagine it is even interest.
In fact, this is interest.
Yes, it is interest. And lastly, Mr. Chairman, yes, Mr. Chairman, there is this project code 1867. This project was supposed to end 2 years ago. The permanent secretary came here and said it had been extended for another 1 year. We need to be updated. Is it endless extension or it is ending this next financial year? The project, when I talk of project code 1864, I think the accounting officer is aware of the project. And I'm not seeing any activity intended to empower veterans. You are talking of veterans. The other time you talked of distributing seedlings, some small beehives. Those are not real projects intended to empower veterans. Mr. Chairman, they required 21.6, and they are only given 2.4. I wonder what kind of project that they can really implement.
And you know, we agree that each one of us, especially from my left, they are potential veterans.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So
and Mr. Chairman, the 21 billion that is allocated for pension, is it clearing the case backlog? Is it clearing the West Nile ex-combatants? Where is it? Because we have around 30 for case backlog. I think 30.8 for the case backlog. So you need to clarify this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Two more, and then you respond. Honorable Museveni.
30.8
billion.
And nothing is provided in that
pension backlog. Okay.
Chair, these are people who serve this nation. Some have died, others are still working. Now I consider enhancing the pension. B, there is the enhancement of pension for veterans retirement in financial 2025. But nothing is provided to clear. At least, even if we don't clear, but you provide some money for these people. Everywhere, you find people who are still claiming their pension. But you find that now here, I am wondering how they prioritize. Why is it that at least they also give them some money? You find they bother us even in our constituencies. You find people who are falling under this docket, but we have no answer to tell. So I would request, if it was possible, they be.
Unfortunately, Honourable Minister, the law has delayed, because those would be one of the questions put to rest by the new amendment of the UPDF Act. You will, but yes?
That is my question, Chair.
Thank you. Honourable Olanya, then I come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, on page 15, the accounting officer is talking of election security of 138.4 billion as far as election is concerned. Mr. Chairman, I would like to find out. I thought the responsibility of election is for the Electoral Commission and the police to provide security. But now, I would like to know what this money is meant for exactly as far as election is concerned.
Thank you, okay.
Because it's not in for UPDF. Our UPDF, their roles are quite different from involving themselves in the election. So I pray that this money should continue to be under shortfalls so that our election is not disorganized too much. Number two, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Under the arrears, we have our gallant sons and daughters who served in Somalia, and they are ever calling members of parliament. They are ever telling us that they work in Somalia, now they are back into the country, their money are not paid. So I would like to find out from the minister and the PS, all their complaints are, it's not about 3 years down the road. All those when they go, they come and they keep on complaining. Either complain that some month they are not paid. So can we really find out exactly the plan for the ministry in clearing our combatants who serve outside the country? And three, about the new uniform on page 11. I have seen that you have put some budget and you are saying you are transitioning to the new uniform. And right now we have seen UPDF has so many different type of uniforms. And which one again do you want to go to? Maybe you can demonstrate and illustrate for us the color we see.
When they say new,
yes,
which one is new?
No, they are saying they are transiting to the new uniform again. So we would like to know the color you are transiting to.
Okay.
We have seen so many UPDF uniforms. Others you are putting on. I've seen about three types now here in this house. So now, which one, Madam PS, do you want to go to? And then about the ex-combatants. Here, you are talking of the West Nile Bank Front. I would like to find out from the minister. Right now, we have the category of ex-combatants of the LRA. Those ones are ever meeting the president. They are ever meeting big people in government. They are ever complaining that they are not being catered for. What plan do you have?
You mean those who were granted amnesty, right?
Yeah, we have those who serve on LRA, Lord Resistance Army.
LRA.
LRA.
You mean N?
L.
LRA, Lord's Resistance Army. Okay.
Of Joseph Kony, of Lakwena, and those ones. Honorable Minister, you are not a soldier, that's why you don't know.
No.
The UPD have already understood. So for you, if you don't know what LRA is...
I think
he means the Lord's...
I'm not a soldier, that's why I'm not understanding what a soldier is saying.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, you are not understanding. So ask the officers, let them explain to you. So we have those ones, the ex-combatants who served under the Lord's Resistance Army and those Lakwena Army. And right now they are meeting government.
But those are rebels.
No.
That's why I asked where those who were granted amnesty, right?
Even the West Nile Bank Front, they were rebels.
Yes. So
yeah, be commanded.
You mean those who were integrated?
By Jerome he was the commander in the bush.
So those were integrated, recognized, then they will be catered for as UPDF.
Some of them were integrated, but others are now home.
Okay.
So I would like to find out the plan of the UPDF for those people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Wakoli.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to draw, and members, I want to draw your attention to. And on item C, and particularly, Chair, I'm seeking clarification on the naming and on the remarks. When you look at item C, it's called land acquisition. And the required 88.5 billion, 17.7 billion was provided. But Chair, the clarification I'm seeking is that when you go to the remarks, Now, the land acquisition, for me, in my understanding, is that you are acquiring new land. But when you go to the explanation, the Undersecretary is saying the ministry has a debt stock for land compensation amounting to shillings 218.8 billion against which only 17.7 billion is allocated in the financial year 2025-2026 to partly settle the obligation. So the clarification I'm seeking, is this money for compensating the land which UPDF is already sitting on, or is for acquiring land? But then still, when I go to the computations here, it says that out of the 18.8 billion, 17, which has been required, leaves a balance of 201.8 billion. And she goes further to say this could be paid in 2 financial years, starting with 8.5 billion in the financial year. Still, even if it is paid in 2 financial years, it does not amount to 201.1 billion. It only comes to 177 billion. So I do not know whether her computations are the ones which are wrong, or she has done it deliberately. But I would request the chair that next time maybe for us to understand better, land acquisition and land compensation is very different. Me, I would imagine land acquisition is that you are buying new land. But now when you come and say, after saying acquisition, then you say compensation, for us to understand better, you say land compensation, then you come and give us this literature. It will help us. Because the narrative is different.
Honorable Choto, then Honorable Sechiko. And introduce yourself. So you came.
Him representing people of the Upper West, being the district and a member of this committee. The issue of the operation in Southern Sudan, part of this financial year, or is part of?
Okay.
Is part of even the other?
We have Mlinzi wa Kimya, Operation Shujaa, and even our own Salama kwa Wote. But when you look at page 15, Mr. Chairman, you'll find that Uganda Air Cargo Corporation had 0 allocation. And yet, once we have these increased operational areas, the only asset we can use and we can benefit from would be Uganda Air Cargo.
Air cargo, because you need airlift capabilities.
Why are we not putting money where it really would make much sense?
Honorable Minister, why do you want air cargo on ground?
On ground, and
yet it is supposed to be air.
And yet there is more increased operational requirements for this corporation. But we seem, and we are giving business to private. To private companies.
Competing with Uganda Air Cargo.
Yes, we are undermining our own, which would be profitable at this point in time. But we seem not to be minding about it, as we even increase our responsibilities. Madam, Mr. Chairman, I would like to agree with the Honorable Olanya Gilbert on the election security money. We thought that once an election period is around, the UPDF is invited by the Uganda police. It is on the invitation of the Uganda police. Number 2, they work in conjunction with the Electoral Commission. But for us to have a budget of 138 billion, yet we can't find money for the salary enhancement, Mr. Chairman, we shall be looking ugly, we members of this committee. And this is why I'm going back to that earlier position. Can we have something to present? Because it is agreed between you and this side, and including even the commander-in-chief. Where is the problem? But we are now looking for 138 for an election that is not the mandate of the UPDF. Mr. Chairman, I suspect this is the very money that you splash around in operations like that of Rwashandi. I'll stand with Honorable Gilbert Olanya to oppose this, and I'll oppose it. Because when you have money at your disposal, you end up going to areas that are not yours. You've not been invited by the Electoral Commission, not by police, and even if police was to invite you, you said you provide the budget, because this is their budget. And indeed, Mr. Chairman, Uganda Police has budgeted for these operations, electoral operations, and the Electoral Commission have catered for the same. So, Deputy CDF, how are you able to convince me that this is an innocent and patriotic activity you are undertaking? Which, when we see now, you are abusing this. You are abusing these resources. You are putting your personal interest in this, not the UPDF. Mr. Chairman, that's why I will be with Honorable Gilbert to request the entire big house
to pray that it remains shortful.
Even if you smuggle something to eat, we shall condemn it and we shall pull it off. Because you don't seem to be.
You made your point, yeah, Honorable Sechikuwa. Okay.
And we know that the role of UPDF is to protect our borders from external, even during the time of elections. But we are saying that it has a zero, it is a budget neutral. So that was an explanation the minister gave the other time. But Honorable Chair, I come back to the issue you raised on equipment for food and feed program. Actually, this is another cash cow that the UPDF would exploit if they could pump in, and they're saying it requires 154.3 billion. And this one would help to even alleviate the problem of food shortages and even the budget on the feeding program. I want them to exploit that, and next time when they come, they should have, like you requested for a business model, they should tell us how much, or if the one in charge of this department was around, the engineer, you could tell us really.
Is that General Ola or?
No, this is a feed. There's an engineer.
That's not under NEC Agro.
Actually, if we could be given this money, how much?
Engineer Simon.
Yes, that one would help us.
Engineer Simon, where are you? Okay, but he should, he should develop a business model.
Then also, Chair, when you come to the ministerial policy statement, this is page 46. I want clarity on this. There is special meals and drinks, and it has something like 200 and it has that amount in billions. Then welfare and entertainment, it has that amount. I want an explanation. Then my colleagues talked of consultants, but there is also here, there was also here professional services. Professional services, and it has 50 billion. You know, Chair, we must, as the committee, we must look for money.
Maybe
within this
just
budget.
augment your point from accounting officer. The second budget call circular for 2024-2025 actually banned consultancies. Says there has been sufficient expenditure and investment in building internal consultancies, capacity building. So his point, you have to comment vis-a-vis that. Why the budget call circular now hasn't commented? Because he already guided. So go on.
Thank you very much, Chair. Because even when it comes to professional services, UPDF has been building capacity in terms of engineering, in terms of medical, in terms of research, R&D, and it has that huge amount. I want an explanation. Then interest on domestic debts. Yeah, actually, my colleague raised it, but it comes to something like 2.38 something.
200
huge figure. comes to a very huge figure. I want an explanation.
Thank you.
Then on land, does this compensation, the money provided on land, does it include our SACCO land? And how have you rested our SACCO debt?
No, that one was done during a supplementary.
Yeah,
Cleared.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Keyo. Honorable Adenitwe, then we give a chance to...
Where we have a shortfall of 44.5 billion. Then when we go to page 12, we see medical expenses also on travel abroad. So I don't know why they are treated differently, because I thought they would all be, it would be under treatment expenses. Then the second issue is on Defense Forces shop that the popular used to call army shop. I want to know whether goods which are there are sold and will generate NTR. Then the last one is on also on election security, because when I see this budget, of course they have not given the money, but what they are required is more than actually the budget of police is required for the election. So I was also of the view with my colleagues that actually this money should not be provided.
Okay. That's your view, of course, and you're entitled. Maybe the last from me will be on page 12, capital development, 100 housing units across, excuse me, across selected sites throughout the country. 51 billion has been provided. Although we acknowledge there is a shortfall, which is really not welcome, this committee would benefit from an update on how, because over time, we've been providing money for construction of housing units. It's important to update this committee, how far you have gone. One other reason, Honorable colleague, Honorable Minister, you remember, Honorable colleagues required the CDF in person was to explain the magic, how he built very good housing accommodation in SFC, and we are looking forward that he's going to extend the same now that he's a commander-in-chief. Together with enhancement of salaries, I said CDF. You might have heard commander-in-chief. Yes. I said CDF.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on that point.
Yes.
Where is the CDF?
No, that one was settled.
But I was not yet here.
Yes, but you are not here.
But Mr. Chairman, he has never appeared here.
No, we settled it, really.
How did you settle it?
Don't take us back. Let's... Honorable Lanyan, you've been sure. The CDF is here. Yes, so, excuse me. So it's, apart from increment, salary enhancement for lower ranks, together with decent housing, are a cornerstone for a motivated and professional army. So you will also brief us how far you have gone in construction of decent accommodation for our soldiers. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. That's quite a myriad of questions. And I begin with election security. And I believe the Deputy CDF will speak about some of the specific things, including that one. I admit this is not the right time to talk about the role of the UPDF in election security. It's definitely not the right time, given the recent occurrences. But it's also a fact that we know that Uganda police alone is not able to secure election time, pre, during, and after. We all know how our elections are very emotive. If you get to meet Honorable Olanya in Amuru, where I've been with him, during election time, you don't think he is the one. He becomes wild. He becomes, he does not even put on a necktie. He moves with the hands, the fist. Even one other person whom I don't want to mention, including myself. Other person will throw the bucket somewhere, you know. So, but if I'm not going to mention names, but I also put myself there in Tororo. We turn to be something else. Just being sure that the Uganda People's Defense Forces is facilitated to take its constitutional mandate first to protect our borders, before, during, and after. Wrong people come during election time. But if it is in the wisdom of this committee that for once we need to conduct an election without the involvement of the UPDF, it will still be an election. The option is in your hands to say, let's do. Uganda Police is enough. Our budget cannot be compared with the Uganda Police because we are Uganda People's Defense Forces. We are beyond, both in the strength, the magnitude, and the mandate. We cannot be compared. And we are only on invitation. Now that you said this committee has processed the budget adequate enough for them to pass on the invitation, and they can also facilitate us, the CDF will make a comment. But the justification for the Uganda People's Defense Forces role in any election, during, unless we are going to change, it is we, the players, who make it difficult for Uganda Police. But I admit, from deep down my kidneys, if you want to say, I admit it is not the right time to make a case for Uganda Defense Forces to be involved in the election process. But deep down in our hearts, we know they make very significant contribution. But we have options. And when the money is not provided, we don't want to be blamed that why didn't you take your role? At least we've come here. And also, not the right time, because when a member of this committee has just tabled the concerns, it's not the right time, I believe, to make such a request, even if I were the one. So the rest of there are technical issues here, which I will ask the PS and the CDF, including but not limited to having payments for the returnees from Somalia. That one directly, the UPDF, CDF should be able to respond. Now, on the issue of Uganda Air Cargo, Cabinet agreed and endorsed that Uganda Air Cargo needs 381 billion to acquire a new cargo aircraft. Cabinet of the Republic of Uganda, shared by the Commander-in-Chief. I was there. Finance Minister was there. Yeah, and this has been on and on. We have cabinet extract. We put it here because it's our obligation to demonstrate to you that Uganda Air Cargo would do better if they had a new, brand new aircraft. And I agree with Honorable Sechkubo, in his analysis that this would make us make a lot of money We're involved in missions, whether Somalia or within Africa, besides other cargo business. And it's mandated. This parliament enacted a law for Uganda Air Cargo. So it is, you are given a mandate without the money, then you don't do much. And that's why you see General Akara is more humble than a three-star general.
No, the honorable colleague's concern, honorable minister, is that while all others are priorities, it never be, we never see that urgency within, and when I say you, you know what I mean.
Yes.
That Uganda Air Cargo is in air. Yet, Operation Suja, Operation Mlinzi wa Kimia, even Somalia demand, all those operations demand airlift services. That's what.
And I agree with him.
Yes.
Entirely. I would change the other side and speak the same way. But even from this side, I agree with you. And General Rashande should know that we agree on this matter.
In fact, next time we shall ask.
So PS and then CDF, you know the areas that you have to respond to. Thank you.
Construction of units?
Construction will be responded by engineer.
Okay. Engineer Dr. Engineer Besige.
Yeah, engineer, Brigadier General Engineer Besige. His other name is not very good when we are mixed.
I hope you don't mean Besige. Please, CDF.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair and members, there is no election in Uganda where police has never invited us. We are always invited, but we don't use police resources. This one must be clear. Whenever we are invited, we don't use police resources. We use our own. That is requirement number one. Requirement number two, the type of deployment we carry out during elections is very unique. Honorable Chair, we are the first people to initiate the deployment of 18 soldiers per sub-county. And that is done during the elections. Now, when you compute that, we may not cover all the sub-counties of Uganda, but at least we cover 75%. That requires additional resources. The third point, during elections, the UPF concentrates before, during, and also after. There are gaps that are created because they have to manage, go down to too much tactical, to up to the polling station. Things like patrols on the highways are affected. They need to call us. Some areas, geographical areas, are also affected. So the UPDF has to come in and fill the gap. That requires resources.
Clarification. Mr. Chairman, let me seek clarification on that. Mr. Chairman, we need to be serious. When the EC is giving their budget, the EC also budget, and they have huge budget for security during the election. Police also budget for election control. Now UPDF also budgeting for election. And then who are the security personnel the EC normally budget for? Let us try to be serious, Mr. Chairman.
And you want the CDF to respond to the needs of EC?
And you intend to work with the EC during the election?
Because
Let
when
him
he's
respond.
saying a board that is for EC, for SPCs and what?
Is valid, but also need to appreciate that even the money for EC is not for paying this office, it's just an allowance given to those officers during that.
And it's not for UPDF.
It's not for UPDF.
For their own
Yes,
constables.
yes,
Yeah.
police constable. But Chair, I think the question that the member asked is that if I have a party, I am the owner of the party, I have organized the party, it is assumed that I must have a bigger budget in that function than the guests that I invite to help. And the question here that members, we are asking is that when you look at police, which is supposed actually, which he confirms, invites them to support them. Their budget is much lower compared to the budget of UPDF. And the question would be, which other special activities is UPDF going to carry that are more than for police? That's what we just want the clarification.
That is it, like border security,
yes,
highway patrols. I think he's explaining.
And no, Chair, just to conclude, in the near future, I think, Chair, this is a committee that is mandated to support all our agencies, and we are ever ready. For us to avoid all this, this shows that the police has no 100% capacity to manage elections. Therefore, police, Uganda police, should in the future, of course, we have elections after every 5 years.
5 years.
So we should look for a way of 100% supporting Uganda police so that they can carry out their mandate fully.
Good proposal.
So that we can do away with such questions.
Good proposal. That's entirely up to us. Okay. CDF?
Thank you very much, Honor, that we have acknowledged that the elections in Uganda sometimes raise temperatures. The temperatures are very high. And now to cushion those temperatures, maybe it is not a subject for now. But as I've already explained, police gets a budget perfect, but when we're invited, we don't use a police budget. Unless we want to try something that we have not yet tested, that we remain in the barracks and police faces it alone. That one is not ours, it is not mine, it is not for UPDF. So, Honorable Chair, that's why we place that budget. And also one of the reasons when we say what is that special, I've already mentioned it. How many sub-counties are in this country? There are many. We go to the polling, the police stations, but the police stations are far from the polling station. So we have to distribute the soldiers. The numbers now, we attract large numbers of UPDF. So that from any nearest polling station, in case there is a problem, the response must be appropriate. Here, we are looking at appropriate response because of the temperatures we have during elections. That's why that figure was put. Then on the issue of uniforms, Honorable Chair, this question came last time again. What we have done today, Honorable Gilbert and all the members, is to do some sort of accountability. Last time we were putting on ANVI camouflage. ANVI camouflage is what we use for external operations. Somalia, Sudan, because the terrain is almost similar. Today we are putting on Woodland. This is your uniform, which you have bought for us. This is Woodland, the one we are putting on today. Woodland is purely for internal operations. You can even see it depicts the vegetation of Uganda. So this is your uniform. It is not ours. You are the ones who buy. For us, we just say, put here, add here. But these are your uniform, especially this committee Honorable Chair, this is your uniform. So next time when we come, maybe we shall come with green, and I will explain as a chair of the dress committee in UPDF. AMV for external operations, Woodland for internal operations. So we shall be doing this accountability each time we come here. Just allow us. Honorable Chair, the issue of payments. First of all, I think it is not true that we have soldiers who have stayed for 3 years without being paid. Those who have been in the mission in Somalia. No, that's not true. That is not true. The records we have, Yugabag 37, 38, 39, 40, have been cleared to zero balance. These issues were there, but we have harmonized with the African Union. All of them have been paid. All of them. Honorable Gilbert, that man disturbing you or that lady, you ask him or her, which Uganda battle group do you build? I mean, were you? All the Uganda 37, 38, 39, 40 have been cleared to zero balance. Nobody is demanding. Uganda 41 and 42 are still in Somalia. If they are the ones disturbing you from the mission area, their money will be paid. So that one we have cleared.
Chair, we appreciate sincerely, but we shall check with our constituents to get the exact position.
And yes. Maybe, Honorable, this is augmenting yours. If such a cases are found, where should they report? In
case of any complaint, we have a desk.
Yes.
All of them have my numbers.
Those who have, because you commanded them.
Complaints. One of the role of the deputy CDF
is to handle complaints.
Is to handle anything. I'm Inspector General of Defense Forces.
Okay. Oh,
any
wonderful.
Corruption, anything trying to touch here, they call me. Afande, we have not got money.
Okay. So now, honorable colleagues know, if a constituent says, I served in Yugabak, this wasn't paid, the person to,
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I really feel this is very good information.
Yes.
Now that he has clarified, we shall cross-check.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then you need, if I get the call again, I will walk with him to your office.
It's honorable. You are most welcome.
Go on and conclude.
Asante.
Maybe CDF, if you haven't paid for the retired general disturbing Sechikubu, maybe you first hold on to paying him until after elections.
Then, Honorable Chair, finally, the payment of the ex-combatants of LRA. This one, Honorable Chair, we need to consult the law. Right now, I don't have the answer. The ex-combatants of LRA, UPA, Fosso Botebak, there are quite many. Yeah, that one we need to consult the law. Right now, I have no position on that. But after consulting our people, they will guide accordingly.
I have the answer.
I thank you, sir.
I have the answer for the sake of the institutional memory.
Combatants, but we shall debate this when they, whether he has a false number, and but that will be when we are proposing the amendment. Yeah.
Okay, CDF, you are done.
In 2019, the UPDF and Ministry of Defense carried out a feasibility study, detailed feasibility study, for construction of 30,000 houses in UPDF barracks. And this project was admitted in the public investment plan, costing 3.8 trillion.
the whole idea was that the Ministry of Defense, using its budget, cannot have an impact. So the Ministry of Finance advised that we do it as a project so that they can fund it separately. So in the meantime, as we are waiting for that funding, our budget has been 16 billion per year. It is only that 2 years ago it was increased. Out of that 16 billion, we have managed to construct some houses for which some of them you saw in Ichigungu as follows. Runyo in Entebbe, 110 houses, 3-bedroom new houses. Chigungu also in Entebbe, 20 houses. Makajo in Mubende, 10 houses. Ruhenjere in Mbarara, 10 houses. Achoripi, that is for 5 div, 56 houses. Mburamezi, that is in Kanungu, for 2nd div, 60 houses. Matanye, that is in 3 div, 60 houses. Bondo, that is for 4 div, 60 houses. Mountain Division, the Kachomia near Semuliki National Park, 60 houses. Filidatirare, Nimasindi, 40 houses. Nakasongora, that is for the Air Force, the pilots, 120 houses. Then Changwali, for 1 div, 60 houses. We have also constructed 10 new brigade headquarters for the Land Forces Infantry, the Land Forces brigades, and then training schools. Kabamba, Kaweta, and other training schools.
Yes.
If Sir Chair and this committee can increase the budget for housing, because these few houses, as you can see, is a small drop in the ocean when you look at the numbers of the soldiers who are not housed. So if I can get more funding, for example, if I can get like 100 billion per year, I would be able to increase on the stock, like if we can construct like even 2,000 houses per year.
Since finance gave you a green light to treat it as a project, have you looked for somebody who has clout with whom you can partner and develop that? Because it's a critical need.
Chair, we have been
procedures of budgeting. Once a project is a multi-year project, now, General Basic since 2019, and he has given us the, but again, when you go through this Bible, because this is now the Bible for the institution that we are following. That project, then we are coded in the understood process. Can this be clarified? Thank you.
Okay, General Messenger units. He said we don't know. 3-bedroom for the generals, 5,000 for troops accommodated. But the units may not translate into.
Chair, why I have been on this committee this long was to leave it. So if I can achieve that, even if I leave this committee,
I would have left a happy man. So that's why we are building interest that let